Is it 7? Is it time? Is it soup yet? Okay, it's coffee. So we'll call this meeting to order. We're glad you're all here. Shall we start with the Pledge of Allegiance? Where's the flag? Oh, we moved it. I'm turning back here looking for the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we'll call the roll.
Mike Brown,
Here.
Michael London,
Here.
David Steck.
Here.
Brad Warble.
Here. So we have, it appears, 3 cases on our agenda this evening. Excuse me. And so I've got, we'll use this one, the affirmation. So the first case, I'm going to swear folks in per case. So we're going to start off with BZA case number 2021001. Owners Roxy Rohr. And this is the property at 11199 Air Hill Road, Brookville, Ohio. It's on the north side of Air Hill, the west intersection of Hecklethorne. Parcel numbers L550270200027. Property is zoned RA. The nature of this appeal is a reduction of lot footage. Footage or frontage? Yeah. You'll get that. 300 feet is required, 38.4 requested. We have a new revised plat of survey drawings. So before we get into that, into those details, then let me ask, is there anybody here who would like to speak in favor of this motion? Anyone from the public? No. Is there anyone who wants to speak against this case? Well, it's quiet tonight. That being the case, I'm going to, I'll entertain a motion to close the public portion of the meeting so that the board can decide. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion's carried. So I want to first go, Karen, if you can give us your short on this. What's the?
Okay, I received a letter from,
You're
I
talking
think you
this
guys
one?
all have it, yeah.
Okay.
So basically, they took a look at everything, took into consideration everything that you guys had told them from the last meeting. And they went through and they revised had the survey redone and brought everything up to code. So she is asking that that she withdraw her hearing, basically.
So all 3 of these tracks, or I should say 4, all 4 of these tracks now, just to be clear, all 4 of them meet code.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So
this is-
what I did, once I received it, I had Sherry Simon came in and took a look at the new map. And so she confirmed that it was up to code.
Okay. So in that case, based upon based upon the request that they have, which is simply to approve what they've submitted this time, which meets code.
Or correct, or to dismiss.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want it dismissed.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why not. It's up to you. Is there, I'll entertain a motion. Do you have any discussion? I'll entertain a motion to dismiss this case appeal. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
We'll call for the question. Mr. Warble?
Yes.
Mr. Steck?
Yes.
Ms. Simon is missing. Mr. Brown?
Yes.
And the chair abstains. The motion passes. Okay. All right. Making it easy. Thank you. Okay. Okay, the next case before us, this isn't a dismissal too, is it?
No.
Okay, I'm just checking. The next case in front of us is BZA case number 2021002. The owner is John Ritter. The address being 5651 Heckathorn Road, Brookville, Ohio 45309. Property is located on the west side of Heckathorn and south of the intersection of Westbrook Road. Parcel number is L550270200005. The property is zoned RA. The nature of this appeal is building a garage apartment with 2 bedrooms to live in while building a house. So this came up last time. So Karen, before I go to visitors, and I'll ask if there's anybody who wants to speak, do you have anything you want to?
No,
Share?
I went and picked up the survey from him. And I'm surprised that he's not here.
When you say he, you mean?
Mr. Ritter.
Okay.
So this is the survey that was given to me. And this is what was missing from the last meeting. And I did give you guys copies of all the drawings and the survey.
Right.
So. And what he's requesting is to have the barn built that has a 2-bedroom apartment for them to live in until they can have their house built.
Okay. All right, is there anyone here who wants to speak in favor of this case, this appeal? If not, is there anyone here who wants to speak against this appeal? Okay. Not hearing anyone who wants to speak for or against it, I'll entertain a motion to close the public portion of this case.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion carries. So is there anything else other than the submission of this document that's changed since then?
No,
Okay.
no, there isn't, nothing else has changed.
Just basically, they just redefined the drawing lines.
Okay. So how does the board feel? What are your thoughts on this? If I remember correctly, and I'm not sure, but the last time, one of the key criteria was just being able to see a drawing.
Correct.
The other comments, if I remember correctly, were also your interest in and their awareness of some of the restrictions that we in fact have placed in something similar to this before. Was there any indication whatsoever, because I don't see anything in writing here that's changed, of their acknowledgement of those type of restrictions, should we impose them?
Mr. Ritter did say that he was aware, because we did
Okay.
say something to him at the last meeting, and that he was willing to follow.
Abide by those? Okay. All right. So your thoughts, questions?
The only issue I have is that things that fit the measurement. We have
Yeah.
632.8 for the barn. We have 639.4 for the house versus the barn.
Right.
It still looks like the front of the barn is past the back of the house.
Right.
So I think that we could either ask them to shorten that 632 to, of course, that's a proposed building anyhow, so it's not probably in a fixed site. So it probably won't be an issue, but that's the only thing that I saw in the drawing that wouldn't be conform.
Okay.
Would be this point right here,
Mm-hmm.
the northeast corner.
You know, I don't have in front of me, now that I'm thinking about it, the conditions that we placed on that other case. Do
I
you?
can get them for you.
They're in the notes from the last
I
one.
thought I copied them, but I can get it for you if you need it.
There's
In the minutes? I don't know if we got them all. I know we were,
I thought I put a copy of that in there, but if not, I can.
see if you have. What about any other thoughts? David?
Look at the place and what he was asking for originally was very reasonable, I thought, but the updated survey to me seems to fix any issues. It's so far back you can't even see it.
Okay.
And if, there's a couple feet difference where the barn, the house is located front or back, I don't see a big deal myself.
That one doesn't bother you.
It's in the
And
minute.
the only time this has come up in the past is what potential, is it up there?
Yes.
Okay. So is what potential precedent it might set. I know that has come up in the past. Oh, here it is. Okay.
They have a mound in front of the property, so it won't even be visible. Maybe be able to see the apexes of the building.
Okay.
It's definitely going to be an enhancement to the area.
Sure. Brad, what are your thoughts?
Similar, I think, sits back far off the road and we're talking minimal distance between the two buildings, so I don't see that as a big issue.
Okay. All right. Well, it seems to me does everybody take a look at the minutes, if you will, just so that you can see from April, is that right? Yeah, April.
1 second.
If you'll look at these here, if you've got a copy, you can just look at this first paragraph here in the minutes. You may even have a copy right in here. Because this you handed us this evening, didn't you?
No, these were in
Oh,
the
is this
packet.
is in the packet, that's what.
Mhm.
Okay, so the case that we had, we did grant it with the restrictions. Is there a way that you,
That way David will have a copy.
there you go. Is there a way that you can pull this out, the specifics from that case? Would you mind?
I'll go get it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Because it's going to behoove us, if in fact that's what we're thinking, to maintain the continuity of the exact language.
Right, exactly.
Okay. But just for everyone, for the record and for everyone's information, we made clear that it was, that there was just one residence. That was one of the things in the motion, that they were aware and that everyone would be aware that there was one residence there, that did not constitute a second. Also, that if and when the home was built, that apartment or, I guess you would say apartment, the living space, would no longer be able to be used as a residence. Could be used as, workshop or something else.
I think we might have to look at the notes, but I think we specifically say the kitchen was what had to be dismantled.
Might be.
I think it was.
Might be, yeah. I know we talked about the fact it couldn't be a mother-in-law suite, it couldn't be considered, it couldn't be rented out. Its usage would have to actually change.
And the address.
Yes, you could not have a separate address. Yeah. Those are the those are the key things. Is there anything changed or anything new that you think we ought to have?
I think we should probably remain pretty consistent with what we did with the,
Right.
on Bearville.
Okay. Well, let's have her, when she finds that, let's just use the same language as that. Sounded, yeah,
Seems about the same.
yeah, keep it the same as the last one. It's not a fair thing to do, really. But there weren't any other issues, so the only other issue you have is that distance.
Right, that's the only thing I saw that looked off on this, but this is just a proposed drawing, I'm sure, for the house. Like approximate proposed future residence, so
Okay.
I'm sure it will be.
So the one thing I would, then I think that we don't need it in the motion, but we probably need to ask the zoning administrator, ask Karen to at least communicate to them with the approval of this. Because this is one aspect of their building that when it comes time to actually build, that the location of that to look at what all of the regulations are and try to make sure that they abide by whatever the code is, that they're looking at. Which would also include that distance and where the location is. I can't think of anything else. I can't either.
I'm trying to recall the last one. Did we make an amendment to that they should mention that in their mortgage?
15,
Deed.
it was, I think it
I think it
was,
was the way it was going to be deeded.
Oh, that's fine, I'll
I
let
think so.
That's not-
So let's take a moment and read this just to be sure that this is the same language we want here. Was this request, the one difference is that they're asking for a 2-bedroom.
Right,
Okay,
they need a bedroom for their handicapped daughter.
which is fine. Okay. It seems fine to me, other than the 2 bedrooms. How about you?
I would agree.
I don't see much difference between one or two. It's the use of it.
Right, yeah. But we stipulated only 1 bedroom. We're going to stipulate 2 in this one because it's what they're asking, but that's the only difference I've seen. Anything else? Okay, so I'm going to read this for the record and entertain a motion, but we'll be using the same or language that fits in real good. Does that make sense? Okay, so in BZA case number 2021-002, I'm entertaining this motion, and that is that the Board of Zoning Appeal will grant this appeal for, excuse me, for a barn to be built with a 2-bedroom apartment in which the owners will reside until a primary home is built with the following stipulations. Number 1, this 2-bedroom apartment / barn is only a temporary residence and may not be used for a residence after a primary dwelling is completed and livable. At that time, the usage for this 2-bedroom apartment in the barn must be repurposed for another use and not a residence or primary living space for any individuals. Number 2, these 2 buildings, a home and a barn, may not have different addresses. Number 3, a letter of understanding will be agreed to by the owner and the township that will stipulate the commitment of both parties to the conditions of this agreement and notarized accordingly. Number 4, included in this letter will be an understanding that this agreement applies to any owner of this property so long as the township zoning regulations prohibit multiple residences on a single property. No future property owner may change this understanding. Number 5, when the primary dwelling is built, it must adhere to all township zoning regulations, especially as it applies to the location and placement of barns and homes. And so that is the motion that I'll entertain. Is there a board member who would like to make a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second to that. Are there any questions before we proceed? If not, we'll call the question. Mr. Brown?
Yes.
And Mr. Steck? Mr. Warble?
Yes.
And the chair abstains. The motion passes. So, Karen, you're lucky. We did all this homework, all this, you know, fixed a couple pieces and have it notarized the same as this and follow through, and I think you'll be fine as well there.
Okay.
Okay. This one I don't need. Okey-dokey. All right, next we have BZA case number 2021003. The owner is Camden and Michelle Beverly. The address being 15566 Little Richmond Road, New Lebanon, Ohio, 45345. Property is located on the south side of Little Richmond Road and west of the intersection of Sulphur Springs Road. Parcel number L53-02906-0029. Property is zoned RA, and the nature of this appeal is a building location. So before I swear anyone in, Karen, do you have any comments or thoughts or anything you want to share with us before we move into this one?
No, just that, basically that, the Beverly's need the barn not to go behind the house. It needs to go toward the end of the property. And then he's here to explain why.
Okay. All right. So is there anyone who wants to speak in favor of this case, in this appeal?
I do.
So if you would, anybody else? Okay, so if you would stand and state your name.
Camden Beverly.
Do you sincerely declare and affirm that the testimony you are about to give before the Board of Zoning Appeals will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, as you shall answer under penalty of perjury? If so, answer I do.
I do.
Thank you. Please share with us. Talk to us.
Well,
you guys,
do I get to, I want to possibly speak, but I don't know if it's for or against. I got questions.
Oh, all right.
So,
Then
You
no.
didn't ask if there's anything like this. I don't know if I'm for or against. I might have questions. Okay.
No, let's go ahead and do this. No,
I can
just
get sworn
hang on
in.
with me. Just hang on with me. Anybody who wants to speak
I'll
in favor or against.
Well,
let's just
I
do it.
don't know which way. I got some questions.
That's not a problem. That's not a problem. So again, if you'd state your name for the record. And do you sincerely declare and affirm that the testimony you are about to give before the Board of Zoning Appeals will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, as you shall answer under the penalty of perjury? If so, answer I do.
I do.
Thank you very much. And we'll get to anybody else. No. Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right.
Please.
I'm not sure, do you guys have copies of it with you there? I just
Yeah.
have a feel for the location there.
Yes.
So what we're wanting to do is build basically just a workshop, but we want it more towards the road. Our house is kind of set pretty much like the middle of the property kind of ish. And we've already got a garage on the one side, and then we have our old barns are further back on the right side there. So we've got a large tract of property right there, and we would like to put it relatively close to the road there. I think it's about 40 feet is what we've got listed on there, from the road. I had asked Karen if there was, any things that I should know. She said the only thing would be like a traffic obstruction or anything like that, as far as possible objections or anything further than just the law being written that way. So, we're not on a corner property. It is set back about 40 feet. So there wouldn't be any traffic obstructions or anything like that. And then it is, if you look at the property, it's decently far away from the house to where it's kind of a freestanding type thing. It's not, we're not trying to put it in front of the house, or anything like that. And then also, one of the reasons we want it up front as well is we want to run electric out there to it. And I'm sure you guys are aware the prices right now are astronomical for wiring and everything like that. So we had done measurements of putting it behind the house after learning of the zoning law here. And I mean, utility costs almost tripled just by moving the location. So that's one of the large reasons there of wanting to do that as well.
So just so I'm clear.
Yeah.
So you're saying that this location here near the road benefits you from that standpoint of the cost,
Yeah.
as opposed to,
Yeah, because our transformer for our electric is pretty much, I think it is listed on there, as far as, it might be on the other one I submitted to the energy company, I'm not sure. It would be on that plot plan there if it was. I had 2 copies of it.
that's okay.
Okay, pretty much the center of our property is where our transformer is for that. So it's about 110 feet from the transformer to the proposed location. If we moved it back, it was closer to 250 feet, more than doubling the run, and that's for the electric there. So,
I think you're putting underground electric.
yeah, everything will be underground as our rest of our property is. It'll match everything like that.
Is that a separate service or are you running it off your house?
No, it'd be a separate service.
Do you run water in the building?
We plan to, yes.
You are gonna run water.
Yes, that's what the plan was.
Do you know what your average is for your house service?
Our existing house service is 200 amp.
And do you know how much amperage you want for your shop?
We were looking for a 320 service. I think that's what they called it, or the meter socket was 320 meter socket. So we wanted a 200 amp service, but we also wanted, if we needed to in the future for any reason.
To be a bit expanded.
Exactly, yeah. So we wanted to go ahead and pay the cost now to have it future-proof, electric, everything seems to be where the future's heading. So we wanted to just make sure that we're set up for everything, so.
What is the intended use for this building?
Storage, workshop, I work on like my cars and toys and stuff like that. So pretty much storage for our ATVs, trailers, stuff like that. We do a little bit of racing, so.
Okay, is there anything else that you think we should know that will help us, you think?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, get some advice.
Yeah. She's my guiding light for that. But when we have 4 kids, our oldest one being 6 years old, the youngest one being 1. So we get quite a few packages, Amazon and stuff like that. So what we're trying to do is shift our deliveries to be delivered over there, because quite often our kids are playing in the driveway, and next thing you know, an Amazon truck's backing up, and kind of a safety concern for us. So we're trying to utilize a new structure for that. And so closer to the road would be great. That way we're not having to use all of our yard for gravel or for a driveway or something like that as well. So.
Okay, anything else that we should know?
No, do you guys have any questions or anything like that?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Is there, I know the place pretty well. I used to live next to it a
Okay.
long time ago, and I'm around the corner. But anyway,
Okay.
is there no room to go down on one side or the other, east or west of the garage, to get in back of it?
Well, as far as the garage goes, our septic field is all right there, so that would complicate utilities quite a bit, as far as buried lines and stuff like that. And then our current garage is on a sub panel from our existing panel, so we would still be running a separate service to it, so the same obstacles would occur with that. It would probably be even a greater distance at that point. And we just put in a new driveway last fall, so then we would also have to cut up that to run electric out to it,
So, and please do me a favor, just step up and you guys can look at what I'm talking about. Come on to your question, David. If in fact it was placed here, I'm just making this up. What you're saying is that this, is this a leach field?
Yes, that is.
And the septic here, that all of this would interfere with the line, and the only option you would have would be to run out here? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much, unless we ran around the house.
Around this
yeah, because this is all, like I
But you
said.
could run here.
Yeah, I mean, we would have to check I'm not sure what utility codes
Sure.
are as far as.
How far away?
Yeah, exactly. But we would still also run into, like I said, it'd be a great distance.
Yeah.
I mean, if we were going that case, I mean, we would probably try and move it over here or something like that to, like I said, we're trying to separate it from our existing driveway as well. To try and.
The access to these, is there a drive?
There was an old gravel path here, but it's since grown over.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty much grass
All
right now.
Are you all like in disrepair or functional buildings?
We're still using them, but two of them are pretty bad off.
Is it your thought that if you're doing this, that eventually you may take some of this down or something?
At some point, in the future, we probably would take down, at least that third one there. But at this point, we don't have any definite plans.
Okay.
As far as that.
I'm just wondering, you
Yeah.
mentioned kids is the reason I'm.
Yeah.
For safety.
So I think from your conversation, the transformer is approximately right.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's no way to go that way, you always have to go around this way.
Yeah, actually, now that you say that, there wouldn't be, because the driveway would be the
You
right
have to put a
side.
new drop hole and everything, and that'd be.
Right. So the only other place is if you were looking back here.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of meeting the code,
And then as far as,
which would be this line here, essentially. I mean, coincidentally, if this is where the house is, that we're talking behind that line to meet the code. Okay. That helps me. Do you have any other questions for him?
No.
You?
No, sir.
You good? Thank you very
no
much.
problem.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor of this appeal? If not, is there anyone here who would like to speak against this appeal? And if not, is there anyone here who has a question, Dale?
No, I guess not. I think it's been answered.
You got an answer.
I mean,
Sometimes they happen. The answers just come, don't they?
yeah, well, I didn't know if I hear them or not. I thought I might have a question. But yeah.
Okay, fair enough. No, absolutely, fair enough. If that's the case, if there is no one else here who wants to speak either in favor of this appeal or against this appeal, I'll entertain a motion to close the public portion of this hearing and this appeal for the board to deliberate. Is there a motion to that effect?
Make a motion.
There's a motion, Mr. Steck moves to close the public portion. Is there a second? There's a second to the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion carries. Okay. Let me walk through this. Brad, what are your thoughts?
Well, it sounds like the biggest issue is cost, which is understandable. Looks like they got plenty of ground there to put it wherever, but the cost seems like a big issue. And probably, some safety issues with the kids on the driveway. I don't have any big heartburn with it. It's probably not any different than other existing buildings in the area.
mean some of the older ones that have been around for a while.
Right.
Yeah. So then a question I have, are you concerned, do you have any concerns at all about precedent that it sets?
Yeah, some, because, you know, if we're making this decision on cost alone, I don't know if that's the right way to go.
Okay, Mike, do you have any thoughts on this?
I feel, I concur with Brad. I mean, I understand everything and I understand the whole cost benefit of having it close to the road. I don't know if there's ever been another case like this before the board, before I came on it, to know what we've done in the past. I think the closest one may be the one down on Old Dayton Road in between Brookville, Johnsville, and the next road, Crawford's Town. Maybe on the, there's a red or a blue barn. Dale may know what barn that I'm talking about between, it's on the north side. I know that it's down by the street, and it's a fairly new building. It may have gone on an existing pad where a previous barn had been standing.
You're talking about it now.
No, he's talking Johnsville, Brookville.
The Honius.
Yeah, it's on Old Dayton.
Oh,
Barn's right by the road, but the house is about 200 feet back.
Well, the only thing I can say to that is that I have, I think, although it's odd for me to think this, I think I've actually been around now 20 years or so, at least, sitting on this board. And I have heard that the issue of cost raised before, but I have to admit, it was very often dismissed as a significant enough factor to be able to change the rule. I'm not saying that's what we should do or shouldn't do. I'm just saying, if you're asking the question of, in the past, what was the discussion, that's often what was the discussion. So what are your thoughts, David?
How much land do you have there?
5 acres.
5 acres. And what's the requirements for the minimum 2.5 acres now to build a house? I guess where I'm going is, if there were a building there down the road someday, could that be split and say, okay, we want to sell 2.5 acres, keep those 2.5, you know, would that be a possibility in the change down the road?
Well, our existing house, I mean,
Pretty much in the middle.
yeah, you would, I mean, if you did some creative drawing, I'm sure you could probably get to that, but I don't think by just cutting out a square that you would reach that requirement there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
300 feet deep or 300 feet.
300, it does say 300.
300 feet.
Did you get a cost for the additional length?
Yeah, for the proposed 110 feet, wire cost alone was about 8,000, and then for around 250 feet, it went closer to 20.
Which one would you have to use to get back, at least even behind the house?
That's what I mean. The 20,000, that would be wire cost from running from the transformer, and that would be if we put it in front, like right up against the older barns there.
as opposed to,
To about $8,000.
So 8,000 will get you behind the house.
No, 8,000 would be where we're proposing.
8,000 gets it where it's on the map proposed, 20 gets it back with the others.
I was just seeing if it was RA.
Yeah, it is. So Mike, did you have
I was just looking at something to try to answer the question about splitting it off.
oh, yeah, I don't know about that.
Cost-wise, have you given any consideration to making the current garage bigger to meet your needs? Compared to cost of that versus
Well, the biggest issue with that is the existing garage is it's like an addition onto a garage already. It's a block building and then a stick-built kind of lean-to subsection off of that. So if we went to the back of it, I mean, we haven't really looked into what it would be to kind of knock out the wall and make it, I mean, we really hadn't considered that. It just kind of, to me, kind of eyesore-ish, you know, because our one is a gambrel roof, and then this would be a traditional, I don't know, I'm not sure what pitched roof would you call it? Yeah, so.
I know it was thrown together when it was built.
Well, don't tell me that.
Yeah, I know you did.
I don't, okay, I'm staying out of that one.
I've heard some stories. Dale told me a few things.
Well, what are your thoughts?
I understand it fully, it just makes me really nervous.
I think, the only thing I would point out, again, and as you know, I do my best to stay, if you will, in the middle of these things from the standpoint of a commitment one direction or another, but I will just tell you some history, and history has been in the past that the cost has not necessarily been very often taken into account for regulations, for moving around a regulation, but other factors, but that hasn't been a big one in the past. If in fact, what appears to be, and I give them credit because they put it right on their application, they were very clear, it's going to cost us more to be able to do this way. We have to be clear that not only with that there, but also the discussion that we've had, that if in fact this board decides to grant this appeal, that we're setting a precedent for the next person to come in with good justification to be able to grant or to appeal a ruling that we made, to have it overturned based upon the precedents that we use. That's the only thing I would point out. Now, if in fact in the past we had, we wouldn't be breaking. I don't think we'd be breaking any patterns or any precedent. But it's not one that I'm aware of in the past. Not in the last 20 years. I don't know what before then. So that being the case, any additional thoughts?
Well, it was just last year, we granted permission to build a new pole building in front of a new dwelling. It was 8-foot difference from, it was over on Crawford Tom's Run, I believe.
Down by,
Just down the road, almost to Providence.
Right.
And, so we did grant it, let them put that in front of the house at that time, and there was room there to put it back of the house.
Mhm.
And,
But that was, I mean, that acknowledging though, that's a significant difference of being just in front 8 feet as opposed, because it extended back to the house.
But visually, it really, you couldn't tell driving by.
But that's the issue.
South of there was
Right.
another one where it was out in front on the corner, and again, it wasn't any big visual thing. But,
Which I would add that this is different. This is way out in front.
correct.
yeah,
And,
Right.
the original zoning was put in place for a purpose. And it's my feeling that if it's just a cost issue, that's not significant. to make a change.
Okay. Mike?
I'm with Brad. I think we have to be consistent, especially with the things that are coming up before us, and make sure that we don't set precedents.
Okay. Well,
But I would add to that, I wouldn't have an issue with it being even with the house, because it is so far back off the road, just like this other one, you're not gonna really tell the difference versus another, maybe
right, and
50-foot back again, which would save them some money.
yeah, and for that matter, we have done that in the past. So we wouldn't be breaking any precedents or anything like that. So I think we have a couple of options here. Looking at something?
I don't think
No,
it's- How
one
much-
second.
How much farther, how much just, I'm trying to see how much farther back that is.
So you're looking at 171 to the well. Okay,
Oh, I see.
can you see that?
Got it.
You're looking at 171 to the well, as opposed to, if I'm reading it correctly, 40 off the front,
Yes.
which is significant.
Here you go.
I got it, thank you.
I tried to.
Michael's bifocals.
I got my readers. I got my dollar stores. The kids keep bringing them home and I keep. I think we may have two things here that we're looking at. One, we have the option of simply moving to reject the appeal. So that's an option outright. I just want to point out we have another option, which we have a couple of other options clearly, but obviously when we have an option to grant it, if we do that, we do exactly as you say, we set some significant precedent for the future. But I think we have potentially another option. And that is to allow for, and I know I sometimes do this too much for us, but is to allow for the owners to explore other options. And if in fact there is another option that, which as you mentioned, maybe moving it back and maybe it doesn't get all the way behind, which is really what David was saying, we did before and he's right. And that would still need an appeal and this appeal could change to that if there was something that they wanted to do, that we could leave it open by being able to say, well, we'll table this if in fact, the property owners wanted to look at other options, where we could find something where we didn't have our hands tied for the future. So, and so I'd like to sort of just make a quick ask of the appellants here, and that is this third route that I'm suggesting is an option for us, which is to table this motion to allow you time to explore other options, therefore having no additional cost if you were to come back with something that instead, in fact, still didn't meet our code, but maybe got closer.
Yeah, I mean, is there any way to change what we've appealed for and get it taken care of tonight, or is
Not
this?
tonight.
Okay, that's what.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, I kind of where you're going. I was like, okay, well,
yeah,
because
but I appreciate your comment.
yeah,
I'm not that confident that we're going to be able to move that quickly tonight. No. Okay, that being the case, it's open. Then I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'll just I'd like to entertain a motion that we table this appeal until for no longer than 90 days, which is what the general rule we've used in the past. No longer than 90 days to allow the appellant to explore other options to potentially keep their appeal alive.
At no additional cost.
At no additional cost, thank you. Is there a motion to that effect?
Don't make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second. On this, I will call for the question of Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Steck,
Yes.
Mr. Warble,
Yes.
and the chair abstains. The motion passes. So this appeal will be tabled. We'll allow for up to 90 days before it has to come back. We try not to, so we've had our own policy of not extending beyond 90 days.
yeah. I mean, we would like to,
And
as
since
quickly
you
as
want to
possible.
move quickly,
Yeah.
we're not going to interfere with that by giving you extra elbow room there, okay? Please understand, it very much is not our position to do anything with our responsibilities here, other than to maintain the code which was developed by the township to protect everybody, and also to look at appeals seriously. and say, we need to allow a little elbow room here. And that's what we do. That's all we do. We don't make the rules.
Yeah.
We look at each situation to say, how can we adjust for it? So I'd like to put that back to you and keep that in mind.
Now, is there a way that you guys can kind of direct me that,
Give
that
us
way?
some guidance.
Yeah, that a way that I don't come in here next time and it's,
We have
well,
a
that's not
zoning
close,
administrator who'd be just thrilled to
Okay.
be able to give us some advice.
Okay.
And you might even have a board member help somewhere along the line. Dale's dying to. No, no, don't.
I don't care if he goes on.
Okay, all right.
But you know, it might be better, just, I will make a comment, just not as close to road theft purposes, things like that.
There's a variety of.
I mean, that's a thought. I don't know if you thought of it, I'll just. throw
There
it out.
actually are a few other benefits, but you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, that appeal is closed. I thank everybody here this evening who's joined in for this. We have some other business to attend to that I'm sure is scintillating, and you are welcome to sit through the reading of the minutes and some other things, but you're not required to.
got some kids.
And I thought I heard about 4 children, and and you're more than welcome to attend to that too.
All right, I appreciate it.
Absolutely,
I'll
absolutely.
get in contact with you.
Thanks.
Okay, so we have minutes from,
Yes, you should have had them in your pocket.
April.
Yeah.
Are those the only ones?
Mhm.
Okay,
And get
I
mine.
think on this, there's a couple of, first of all, let me ask this question. Have all of the board members had an opportunity to read the minutes? Yes. So we will not, unless there is someone here who would like to hear everything, we'd be happy to read it. Okay, that's a no. They don't want to have to listen to me or any of the rest of us any longer than they have to.
That's why I sit and do that.
That's what you did, yes. Okay, so before I ask for a motion to approve these, I do have, I do have some potential corrections. So, and I've highlighted here.
Okay.
So I think if you look at the sentence, if you can follow me, the first order, you might want to give us an F, yeah?
Yeah.
Little typo. And if we look at the, at the vote on that one, we called the roll on that one, we had, ayes, except for Miss Simon was there twice, and she was really only there once, it was Mr. Brown.
I abstained.
Take a look,
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, this should be.
you can follow the highlights,
Okay.
follow the bouncing highlights, Karen. Okay. That's all I have on that page. If you look at that page over there,
Yeah, this
See
is the one with
a little
the,
highlighter,
yeah.
it must be noted in a deed or as an addendum. Addendum, that's one word, not addendum.
Okay.
That's a fabric,
Okay,
which I know you were thinking about fabric that day.
that's right.
That's right. Okay, I'm back with you. Okay, if you look at the roll call here at the bottom,
Uh-huh.
so Mr. Stack. And so as a form, so that there's clarity, this is one of those legal things you don't want to be able to say. In one part, use the term I, A-Y-E, as their assent, and then the letter I as an assent. You want to maintain the context. So, yeah, which you gonna pick one, just use it all the way through. We're really not necessarily proud which one, but if you're going to go with the A-Y-E-S, go all the way.
I gotta keep you on your toes.
You are keeping me awake, Karen. Okay, so here and it on this right at the bottom, you'll see right below on the second, beginning of the second sentence,
Mhm.
entertain a motion that we waive the reading.
Extra E.
Yeah, we
Got
didn't
it.
need that extra.
We smallly did.
We, it was a wee small thing. And then and the same thing on the very back.
Okay, got it.
You had split it right down halfway through the minutes. And I was
I was
like,
getting tired.
I can bet you were. She's saying, he's wearing me out. Leave me alone.
Okay.
Okay. Are there any other corrections, additions, or deletions for the minutes? No. If that's the case, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
I'll make that.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, nay. The motion carries. Okay. So let me ask this, are there any other announcements that we need to be aware of? About anything? No? You did have one earlier. I wanted to make sure everyone heard. I just think,
I don't think everybody heard. I have been in contact with the Board Zoning Commission, and we are going to have our first meeting. It's set for August the 19th, so that we can, I can kind of let them know what's been coming across my desk that is not
addressed.
here,
Yeah.
Okay.
and see what we can do about bringing things up to 2022.
One of them was the mother-in-law house thing, wasn't
Yeah,
Mhm.
Right.
it? Which kind of goes in line with
sure.
the temporary buildings with apartments and so forth.
Right, right. And I am going to make them aware of the two cases that we had, the one down in Amby, where it's a one-bedroom apartment, and then the one that we
Sure.
just approved, and they will see
What we've done.
done.
Yeah, they can
Right.
see what we've done, and if for some reason that they, want to make it harder and faster or
Mhm.
something, then their job is to give us the guidance and to make those decisions. Ours is just to interpret and allow for
So
exception.
before that meeting, if anybody has something that maybe I had forgotten or whatever that needs to be brought to that table, to discuss or whatever, please let me know.
Great. Anything
And I've
else?
also invited the trustees to attend that meeting.
Good. Anything else? No? Any other announcements or questions? Anybody out there, anything? No? Jason, thank you for taking care of all of this. If that's the case, then there is nothing else, then I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
Yeah, write it down. Carrie. Motion carried. This meeting is adjourned.
How did we do this?
Shut it straight.
I don't know.
Okay.
Hey,